It has been the topic of conversation for all sports fans, not just in the NFL, not just in the NBA, not just in the NHL, but COVID running rampant in sports. And we have now seen that the Bears are not the only team on Monday Night Football. We're getting a Tuesday Night Football. We have an array of things to talk about, and the Bears being affected and affected by this is something we are going to tackle on this kind of pregame show of Bears versus Vikings. And I am joined by the one and only, the marvelous one, Dan Marver, here on the Sports Cubicle to kind of talk about this crazy situation. Don't forget, later on in the show, Christian Simpson joins Devin Tingle and myself as we kind of tackle the Urban Meyer situation, the Jackson State situation, and the initial reactions of the COVID outbreak. But Marver, I know this is something that you've had your eye on. This is something that has affected and infected the sports world. Your initial thoughts when all this kind of broke down in all the sports world?
I mean, first there was the Bulls, the Blackhawks, it seemed like it was isolated. But I think the thing is that the athletes are vaccinated. They're being tested regularly. I get the impression that they don't have symptoms, but they have it, so I mean, that's the thing that's weird. So, which means that all the vaccinated people could be walking around with it and not knowing it, which is scary. And the unvaccinated are going to get sicker, but the vaccinated apparently aren't going to be on a respirator, it appears, thank God. But for me personally, there are two events that were scheduled tomorrow night in the South Loop. One at Wintrust Arena, one at Soldier Field. The one that's being canceled, I wish was being played. And the one that's being played, I wish was canceled. Paul had a beautiful game yesterday canceled at Northwestern, and now their conference opener. The Big East rules are you forfeit. So they forfeit to Creighton tomorrow night. And it's crazy. Loyola had 2 games canceled. Duke had to find another opponent. The CBS Sports Classic had to switch opponents. I mean, it looks like we're heading into the same situation in March of 2020, but I hope not. So that's my take on it. It looks like it's like, the Tuesday Night Football back from last year, double Monday night game. Again, this is so reminiscent of what happened, last year or over a year ago. So this is crazy. I mean, I thought we were past this. I was getting excited. I'd been as a DePaul ticket holder to their 8 or 9 home games, and it felt normal except for the masks. So this is very upsetting. In terms of the Bears themselves, they play the game that I wish they weren't playing, and they satisfied everything I asked for last week. Nobody got hurt that I'm aware of, and it was a close and interesting game for a while until they were embarrassed in the second half. So I have the same attitude for Minnesota, although Minnesota's not as good a team, but I'd like it to be a close, interesting game and nobody get hurt and play, go on to Seattle Giants and Minnesota again and plan for next year. I'm already in the next year mode with the Bears, to tell you the truth.
And I think a lot of Chicago is with you on that. I think a lot of Chicago and a lot of the world shares your sentiment when it comes to what's going on with the Omicron variant, the Delta variant, and obviously what we've been dealing with for the last 2 years. I think what you're seeing with the asymptomatic stuff, and obviously here at WCPT, we always suggest go talk to your doctor, make sure that you do the right due diligence. And I just got boosted. So I understand that this might become its own trend. This might be its own version of the flu moving forward. But the point is, you talked about it, people not in respiratories, people not in hospitals, people who are dying, left and right because we don't have a vaccine. And I think what's happening now, and you're seeing with some of the protocols, is if you're asymptomatic, if you are vaccinated, they are going to start moving forward with this because you're supposed to get to the endemic, right? And I think that's the goal of everybody at this point. And it looks like as of right now, the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings will be playing on Monday Night Football. And you just talked about what the expectations are for this game, but just some stuff that is going to be surrounding this game. There are chances that if in an event that the Bears coordinators can't go there, they do have backup plans like John DeFilippo as the OC, Mike Patton as the DC, Brian Ginn as the special teams coordinator. We don't know yet if Matt Nagy is calling plays or not. Tevin Jenkins will be playing because Jason Peters is injured and cannot be playing in this game. So when you see that type of stuff, Justin Fields and a guy who's starting for the first time at left tackle in week 15 against the Minnesota Vikings, who are playing for their life and hopes and their job of the head coach. I mean, any concerns about that?
No. I mean, obviously they have more to play for. Andy Dalton can't play either, by the way. He's in COVID protocol, so you'll have Foles as the backup. But they have much more to play for, so I would expect them to win the game because they have more incentive to do so. I mean, it could be an interesting game, hopefully, like last week. But, Minnesota's hard to really predict. I mean, aren't they the ones that lost to Detroit?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you never know. They're sort of hard to gauge, but the Bears have had their number over the years, and they play them twice in the last 4 weeks. So it's kind of crazy that they haven't seen them yet. But thankfully, they're going to get a semi decent Monday night game. When I saw it on the schedule, I said, "Oh, great." They have a game at Soldier Field on December 20th, But I mean, this will be the first year, according to reports, that there isn't measurable snow in Chicago before Christmas at all. So that's unbelievable. And it's supposed to be like in the 50s by Christmas Eve. So this is insane.
It's crazy times, my friend. And of course, we suggest you keep it here on WCPT all week long, all weekend long, to keep up to date with the latest news when it comes to the stuff that's going on in the climate, your local weather, and of course,
Right.
what's going on with COVID-19. And in this game, Marvelous One, I think what's really interesting, as we've been talking about it all season here on the Sports Cubicle with Dan Marver, Devin Tingle, Paul Chivari, myself, Mike Mercado, is the weaknesses of this Bears team. While we could get excited about David Montgomery, we could get excited about Khalil Herbert, who might not play in this game. We get excited about what Cole Kmet could be. No Allen Robinson due to COVID-19, so it's another big loss. But we're going to see what Minnesota brings. You talk about them being in this thing, needing to win. Justin Jefferson could light up this really broken down secondary that in itself is fighting injuries and COVID. We have to see what's going to happen if Adam Thielen plays in this. So do you think more this is going to be a shootout? Do you think this is going to be entertaining game is one thing? And as long as certain guys, and we always wish that people stay healthy, but as long as you're able to move forward with minimum, hurt on your body for some of these key guys, do you think this is going to be a close game, an entertaining game? What is your gut saying about this actual matchup, knowing some of these scenarios?
I wouldn't have predicted 42 points in the second quarter with Green Bay, so you never know. I would think this would be more of a defensive game personally, but as you say, I mean, we got to get a big game out of Mooney, and I mean, they really came out with some interesting trick plays last week, to be honest with you, that I didn't expect from them. So they may have to pull a few more rabbits out of a hat in this one, but I expect that it will be a close game, honestly. And Fields is developing, and as a first-year quarterback, you look at the history. I mean, it's not great for first-year quarterbacks. Even Mahomes, didn't do anything his first year. So I'm looking for him to again in 2022 be more of a factor. And I was kind of worried about the ribs last week. Honestly, I didn't think he necessarily should have played, but I don't know exactly what his physical condition is. I'm sure it's better now, but ribs can be an ongoing issue for some time. And if you take a hit the wrong way, then you got a real problem. So I'm sure it's well padded and all, but I expect that Fields will have a good game against that Minnesota team, and they may be able to pull it out. But Minnesota really has a lot more to play for with this crazy 7-team playoff thing, where you can actually be 500 or below and make that 7th spot.
It's going to be a really interesting game on Monday nights, and hopefully everybody is being safe and sound. Hopefully we get these games in. Hopefully these leagues are able to take care of some of this COVID outbreak. We've seen that in the NBA, Cleveland now is dealing with an outbreak. The Bulls are finally playing on Sunday nights, but the Lakers will be without Frank Vogel. So it is all over the sports world, and hopefully you are being safe and sound. And of course, keep up to date with everything that is happening with local news and national news over at heartlandsignal.com. Formerly WCPT820.com. And of course, right here on the station all week long, and right here on the Sports Cubicle, as we keep you up to date on all the craziness that's happening with your favorite sports teams like the Chicago Bulls, Bears. Hopefully we get back the Chicago White Sox and Cubs, and of course the Blackhawks and all the craziness in the NHL. But it's going to be an interesting Monday night, and we want to know your thoughts. Let us know who wins in the big Monday night matchup, though. Can we get to Monday night with a game? It's Bears versus Vikings. Let us know on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. We have a jam-packed show for the one and only Marvelous One, Dad Marver. I'm Mike Mercado. Stay tuned. We have a lot more here on the Sports Cubicle on WCPT 820 AM.